Welcome back to the Kansas Jayhawks Dynasty here today as we enter episode 46 and another magnificent chance here for the Jayhawks to continue a strong start to the season that was flustered by a loss to Baylor last week that really honestly was not as close as it seemed. We struggled the entire way defensively and offensively, got a few lucky breaks at the end, and we ended up losing by about 8 points, but unfortunately the Jayhawks could not come out on top, and today we have to face another Big 12 opponent in the Houston Cougars, a team that slowly started to rise up the ranks of the Big 12 conference since they joined it a few years ago, but this time their quarterback Morton is going to have to be able to get out of pressure a little bit more easier than that, as he struggled that play to get anywhere. Now 2nd and 11, he runs it again, makes a few men miss, spins around down. 13 yards later, they're going to give him that first down, so we will see Conrad Hawley continue to start. He has had some solid outings so far this year, a little bit of a turnover bug early in this year, but this time 3rd and 11, Morton's hit as he throws, and it's intercepted by Lewis. That was Caleb Taylor with the pressure. He almost got the sack in, but instead Lewis will return the interception back about 15 yards. So we get to see Hawley a little early. 3rd and 8, he fires off of the pump fake, and Donnell Harris, 12 yards on the play. He has had a strong outing here in his sophomore season. Now 3rd and 7 though. Couple third downs early in this quarter. Hawley calling some audibles. Wants to throw out of the shotgun. Fires outside. This time it's Arnold. Breaks a tackle at the ankles. To the 40, the 30, 25, 20. Down to the 15 as he slams his arm out there for a 43-yard catch and run. And now Hawley's going to give it to Neal on the next play. 2nd and 10. He run bulls up the middle for 13 yards. And the Jayhawks offense getting it going early in this quarter. This time he's going to go back to Neal, who right up the middle, not even really close to him was anybody on that defensive line. And the Jayhawks strike first there. 7-0 now is where we sit. 3rd and 3. Morton out of the shotgun. He continues to have McCaskill to his left. This time, though, he has a man open on a slant. And that was a dot to Jimmy Valdes in the 3rd. 16 yards as he cuts it upfield on that one. Now a 2nd and 2. The defense needs to be able to consistently get stops, and that time Morton had no chance to pitch it, and the Jayhawks defense forces a 3rd and 4. Out of the shotgun, McCaskill to his left. He calls a man in motion, takes the snap, wants to throw, nowhere to go. He is sacked. Keenan Caldwell is able to get his hands on Morton, and the Jayhawks once again will take over. 2nd and 11 now at about the 5-yard line. Wants to throw across the middle. Great way to start the drive. 20 yards on the catch and run by Donnell Harris. And you've got to feel optimistic now. The Jayhawks on a 2nd and 10, though, is where we will pick up with them again. Play action. Hawley got a man open on the outside. Throws it a little too far, and it's intercepted. Keeping the team in this game is Conrad Hawley right now. He had a wide open man, but he overthrows it and shoots it too far to the left. And instead of being a first down, it's an interception. But the Jayhawks defense catches a lucky break there as a wide open receiver drops a sure-handed first down. And now Cardell's going to get on the action with a nice stiff arm as he pushes the defender forward for 10 yards. After the contact there. Now we're almost done with the first quarter. 1st and 10. Hawley fires deep downfield. Got a man, he underthrows it again. Foreman with the interception. So 2 straight interceptions on 2 straight drives as the Jayhawks come out empty-handed on multiple big play opportunities. Now McCaskill will resume the drive on 2nd and 10 for the Cougars. He's going to get 3 yards. Multiple opportunities there to score, but Conrad Hawley overthrows one and he underthrows the other. Now 3rd and 7. Morton fires to the outside into coverage, and Lewis drops it. Kind of hard to see there in that big bunch of people on the right side, but instead they settle for a long field goal, and it is going to fall just shy of that marker there, or of the goalpost. And instead the Jayhawks take over. Now 2nd and 10 on a screenplay. Neal is brought down 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Not even really close. So instead they will have to punt it away again as the Jayhawks offense having some trouble now moving the ball. They went so smoothly on that first drive. And if you guys remember, in that first season and mostly the second season of this series, the Jayhawks offense always started out the day super strong, but instead they were just not able to get anything going the rest of the day. And maybe one day we'll visit some of those old games in a live stream. That would be a lot of fun to do. But let's go ahead and get back to this broadcast. Now, 2nd and 12 after a first down run, McCaskill gets lit up with a hit from the left side, and now a 3rd and 14 after that one. 5 minutes and 20 seconds in the second quarter. Morton wants to throw under pressure. A lot of pressure hit him, and instead Lewis reaches out, and they mark him 1 yard short. Not even, just a few inches. And the Cougars settle for a field goal for some reason, as they would just have to fall forward. But instead, another long field goal just falls harmlessly to the ground. They missed a prime opportunity there to go for it in a very easy situation. All you have to do is get your quarterback to just lunge forward about half a yard as Arnold is going to split the defenders. And that time it was a beautiful throw by Conrad Hawley. I cannot fault him for that one. Now 1st and 10 for Neal. Got some great blocking. And he speeds up the middle for 14 yards as he is brought down by the left arm. Thankfully, he held on to it. Now 1st and 10. Hawley out of the shotgun. No turnovers preferably. Wants to fire to an open man. Touchdown. Donnell Harris, 15 yards right back across his body. And the Jayhawks strike again in this one. Now 1st and 10. Morton is sacked. Stuffed right up the middle. That time, it was Keenan Caldwell again as he ran straight into his arms. Now a penalty later. 2nd and 4 now. Going to bring Solomon Lewis in motion. So they have a bunch on the left side. It's going to be a wide receiver screen. Lewis is lit up. Solomon Lewis ran into a brick wall in Jacoby Bryant. And a 3rd and 5 is where we resume action. Morton out of the shotgun. Wants to throw. Nobody's open. Spins around and hit by his own lineman. Who do they credit the sack with? We'll never know. But they do end up getting him to the ground now. 4th and 6. Willie Allen will return the punt. He had a punt return a few weeks ago. He's going to break it to the outside. Nobody's out there. He's got 2 men to beat down there to the 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. He's into the end zone. Willie Allen, 67 yards in his 2nd punt return touchdown of the year as the Jayhawks strike again. 21-0 is where the score stands with a little over a minute remaining in the quarter as Lewis snags a tough catch there. And 16 yards later, we find them on a 3rd and 13. 54 seconds remain. Morton under pressure on the screen. Fires to McCaskill. Tripped up and spun down around after 1 yard. And the Jayhawks take a timeout now. 2nd and 10. So here we are. Less than 33 seconds now and counting as the snap goes back to Hawley. And he hits Harris on a slant and he fumbles it. Gibson picks it up and he is quickly brought down, but Donnell Harris, 2 straight weeks with turnovers now on fumbles after great catch and runs, and the Cougars have a chance here with 10 seconds. Morton, no pressure up the middle, instead he fires and Lewis is open into the end zone, 37 yards right before halftime as Solomon Lewis is able to weave in and out of traffic to get there for that one. Now a 2nd and 3 is where we pick up here in the second half. And Devin Neal, 6 yards is where he runs that time. We really need to get him more involved. Play action now on 2nd and 8. Hawley fires to Arnold this time, and he tries his best to break the tackle. And he's brought down around the ankles with now a 2nd and goal after that 30-yard catch and run. Hawley into the flats, wide open is Huggins. Hit in the end zone, but he's got a touchdown. 28-7. In this game, you've just got to feel like the Cougars never had a shot. They've improved this year, undoubtedly now a 2-1 team and a better record than they've ever had the previous 2 seasons after joining the Big 12. But they still have come out here and they've put up a skunker or a stinker so far against the Jayhawks. This drive, though, they look fairly solid. 2nd and 4 is where we pick up in the red zone. Morton takes the snap, wants to fire. He's brought down. 7-yard loss there on the sack, and they would settle for another field goal. No luck so far today on 2 long field goals. This one's just a little bit shorter than those, and it connects with that right corner in the upright. And the Jayhawks lead is brought down to 18 with a little over 2 minutes remaining in this third quarter as Devin Neal continues his strong outing with the 10-yard run. Now 1st and 10 on the next play. He's going to take it to the outside. Makes a man miss. Wants to cut back in, and he's brought down by his stomach and just barely at that. They had a chance for a much bigger play there if the blocking was a little better, but still it's a 2nd and 12 later on. John Johnson got the catch, can't break the tackle. 22 yards is where we go down inside the red zone. Now 3rd and goal. Clock is ticking. Devin Neal on the run, and he's brought down into the end zone. 1-yard touchdown run, and the Jayhawks lead is extended now. 25 here as we go into this 4th quarter. On the final play of the 3rd, though, Morton wants to take off, and he is going to fumble it. Recovered by the defensive back Flynn, and the Jayhawks lead looks to extend even more now as Heron Morton makes probably one of the biggest mistakes we've seen all day. On a 1st and 10, Devin Neal got great blocking on the left side, and you know he takes advantage of that for 14 yards. Now 3rd and goal. Conrad Hawley wants to give it to Neal up the middle. Nobody there, and they are going to get him for a loss of 1 in the backfield, and instead it's just a quick field goal here as the Jayhawks lead is fairly safe, you've got to feel now, with only 6 minutes remaining. 2nd and 3 for Morton and company. McCaskill going to get it up the middle. Great blocking. Nobody near him. He's finally brought down after 14 yards. And here we are, 2nd and 5. The Cougars offense coming alive just a little too late as a screenplay is broken up. Earl Rogers Jr. in the backfield. No gain on the play. Now 3rd and 5. Morton wants to throw. No one open, so he runs it, and he is sacked. That time, I believe it was Cornell Wheeler. So here we are, 4th and 7. Might as well go for it. You're down 28. Morton wants to fire to his man, Goudry, and he is on the slant. Not going to get there. 6-yard catch is not enough, and the backups will come in on a 2nd and 5. We have seen a good bit of Maurice Butler this year, which is something we've really planned on incorporating into the offense, as Daniel Hishaw Jr. on a screenplay is open into the field all the way down to the 40-yard line. And just as I say that, Maurice Butler got hit on the throw, and he had a concussion to force him out in this game. So Larry Johnson, first pass of his career into the end zone, touchdown. Donnell Harris, 40 yards downfield, and a 45-10 score is where we sit at right now as the Cougars will punt the ball back with 2.5 minutes remaining. They said Devin Neal wanted to get some reps returning punts, so they let him here in this trash or garbage time. Devin Neal going to return it to the left side. Got some good blocking. Nobody's really close to him. The punter dives, and he's into the end zone. Spun move there for some flair at the end. But that would do it for this one as the Jayhawks dominate on all facets of this game. Devin Neal finished the day with 3 total touchdowns, 21 carries, 112 yards, and the Jayhawks go to 3-2 on this young year as they bounce back once again in a resilient win after a devastating loss. 52-10 is where they stand in this Big 12 matchup, and here we head into the post-game press conference with head coach Smeems. Last week was honestly pretty devastating, losing to Baylor, and especially with the way our defense played and how bad the loss was. But this week was much better, obviously, as far as winning the game and dominating on every part of the game. Honestly, Conrad Hawley, though, didn't have that great of a day. 18 for 29, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. Both of his interceptions could have been completely avoided if he had just thrown slightly better passes or slightly above average passes, but at the end of the day, you win the game, so you don't want to complain too much, but you still got to get him in the film room, and you got to be able to get that out of his system. 1 for 1 for Maurice Butler, 48 yards. He currently is diagnosed with a mild concussion, but I believe he is available no matter what we do or how much going forward we are. But obviously his backup behind him, the third string, is very formidable as well. Larry Johnson, in his only pass of his collegiate career, 40 yards and a touchdown to Donnell Harris. I mean, what more can you ask for? Devin Neal, 21 for 112 and 2 touchdowns. Daniel Hishaw Jr. even got in on the action a little bit there, 6 for 26, 4.3 yards per carry. Receiving-wise, Donnell Harris, 8 for 143 and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the one in garbage time, but it still counts. Lawrence Arnold, 3 for 95. Sean Johnson didn't show up too much today, 3 for 56. Daniel Hishaw Jr. had the one screen play that went for 48 yards, and other than that, Will Huggins had the other lone touchdown, and we also had some great defensive plays out there. We had the one interception from John Quay Lewis, where he also had 5 total tackles. Cornell Wheeler had 6 total tackles, one for loss and 1 sack. Keenan Caldwell had 5 total tackles, 3 for loss. All 3 of those were sacks. Trey Staley had 2 sacks for himself. Down here we go Cameron Dabney and Caleb Taylor and Demarion Alexander, all with 1 sack respectively. Krishan Brown had 1. Jacob Shaw had 1. We just had a great defensive outing, especially after what we did last week and how bad that was. And here we see where the difference was made. Willie Allen had a returning touchdown on a punt, and Devin Neal with another punt return touchdown for himself. This game really just everything went right for us, and obviously because that happened, we had to have even more go right for us. The first commits of Season 4's recruiting class. We did have a guy knock us out, but we weren't really recruiting him at the moment, so it didn't make that much of a difference. Jacob Parham, I don't want to recruit you. We're back by 2,000. But anyways, let's go down and see who has committed to us, and it is going to be 2 pretty good cornerbacks, a 4-star and a 3-star, 75 overall, 73 overall. Alexis Schroeder from Grand Island, New England, and Spring Hill, Los Angeles, or Louisiana. Why did I say Los Angeles? Michael Whaley, number 100 ranked cornerback and the number 9 ranked cornerback. So great pickups there. John Miller, not a guy we went after too heavily, but he did end up committing to UAB. And let's just go ahead and look around the league and see what all is going on. We do have 2 quarterbacks that we haven't really been recruiting too much because we have, in my opinion, a fairly good quarterback room for the moment. Johan Tindall, one of our subscriber-made quarterbacks, he is currently having us number 1 over Minnesota. And Connor Poe, a guy from Roland Park, Kansas, somebody that I might bring in just to keep our state as a pipeline. He is basically committed to us even without us recruiting him. Running back wise, it's not going as smooth. We have Brian Peterson, we have Adam Roberts here, but obviously we are trailing on Adam Roberts a ton. And hopefully we can get to that visit week before he commits to Colorado. That would be a big get for us. And honestly, I'm going to sink some more points into Brian Peterson just to hope he comes here, because we really need that 3rd running back just to fill out the roster. Doug Miller continues to have us number 1 overall. Nick Kelly, receiver from Columbia, South Carolina, currently has us as, I just realized that I can go as far up to 700 now. But Nick Kelly currently has us as his 3rd spot. Jason Grimm back here with 900 as his 2nd spot. Heath Bradley has us number 1 overall, and Hayden Jean has us number 1 overall. Not really even close on either of those guys. James Higgins currently has us number 1 overall. No, he is not related to Will Higgins. Ray Outlaw, another guy they keep adding back, but we are not recruiting him at all. Morgan Weems, we are currently going after heavily, minus 90 there. Tracy Mason, we're in the running for, and John Graves has kind of let us out of his top picks right there. Ty Sutton is a guy that I've heavily went after. As you can see, number 1 overall with the I'd say a fairly large lead over the next spots. These 2 guys down here, Kyle Jones and Jason Stewart, we don't really care about them. We're down a lot. Ricardo Bonner, I'm not going after 53 overall anymore. This is the 4th season of our dynasty. Jordan Nelson, a guy that I might put some points into now that we have extra points from the commitments, but right now I have other places I'm focused on. Deion Carey has this number 1 overall. Marquez Starks, so unfortunately I wanted to get him. We just didn't have enough points for him. And let's see, where else was I going to go with that? Outside linebacker, Chad Bell. JUCO, 65 overall. Figured I'd sink some points into him and just hope he maybe commits. Jeremy Morgan, another guy that we haven't put too many points into, and he's not that great, but maybe if we have some extra points, we'll bring him back. Donald Caldwell is another guy I'd like to bring in just for depth at that cornerback position. Who knows if he'd actually make the roster. David Crowell is another guy we are going after, number 1 spot for him, and that really rounds it out for the most part. We have a few athletes down here that are going to be pretty big to go after. Alex Skinner is a guy that we lead the nation, or lead his team's favorite teams list, and we are number 1 by a long shot, minus 1,600 for Florida. And Nate Williams is another guy we have gone after pretty heavily since the beginning of the season. Two very highly touted athletes, Alabama for Williams and California for Alex Skinner. Chris Cox is another guy we are going after, a 3-star athlete. I'm going to sink, honestly, the rest of our points into him and hope he can make an impact because, you know, he looks like he'll be really, really, really good if we can get him to get on this team. So these guys are some big prospects for us to go after, and the fact that we are leading in their rankings right now is just big already. Getting 2 commits this early in the year is big to open up some points for other guys, so thankfully that's something that we were able to do. And before we end this episode, let's go ahead and look around the league and see if there were any big shakeups or anything that happened last week that's really surprising. I know we did have some top 25 matchups last week. That might surprise you guys. We did see last week that there were a few decent matchups coming up. Nothing too crazy in the upcoming weeks that I could see. But here we are. Ohio State takes over the 1 spot, or they remain at the 1 spot after dominating Minnesota. Georgia remains at the 2 spot after dominating Tennessee. Man, 55-28 against a ranked opponent. Georgia looks like the real deal here. Florida State does jump into the top 4 for the first time in a while. They were 4th last week. They get to 3 right now. 38-10 win over Maryland. Washington remains in the top 4, or they jump up 3 spots after a win against a high-ranked USC opponent. Clemson rounds out the 5th spot as they remain there despite an early loss. They did beat Georgia Tech last week. So rounding it out, we have North Carolina, Notre Dame, Tulane, Southern Miss, and Florida in the top 10. Here's the rest of the top 25 if you'd like to see it. Unfortunately, looks like we're going to have to do a little bit more to get back into the top 25 after that Baylor loss, as you can see. We did get some votes, though, which is something that I can be proud of. And let's check out the conference standings real quick before we end this episode. Is we should be number 1 in our side of the conference. No, we are currently number 2, but we will eventually face off against Texas Tech, which would be a big matchup. And let me know what you guys think we can do against this team next week or against SMU next episode. 4-1 against another team that struggled in its early days of the Big 12, but they have improved a lot this year. Hopefully we can come out here and play against a good SMU team and play a good game and come out with the win in an away crowd that is going to be such a tough game to win, but hopefully we can go out there and dominate and get it done. Comment down below your score predictions for this one. How do you guys feel about this game? Do you think we'll take it? As always, if you enjoyed this series, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, as I will continue this until I don't get any support on it, because I love this series and I know you guys love it as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time when we face off against the SMU Mustangs.